Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the None of Your Business podcast. Sean Dill here with you. And today's podcast is going to be absolutely amazing because I'm going to be sharing with you a guest that I have known for many, many years. I've had the honor and privilege of working with him for so many years and have watched literally with my own eyes this business absolutely take off. He has so much to share with you. Your life will be enriched just in this short amount of time. At the same time, in full disclosure, this guest is one of our title sponsors for our upcoming events in the Black Diamond Club. That's how much we so very much believe in the work that our guest is doing to radically shift the way that service providers are bringing people into their business. For so long, we've just relied on teaser ads. Hey, come in for a free visit, free consult, free thing, or we've just kind of crossed our fingers and relied on word of mouth. um, our guest Steve Tullius is breaking the mold on doing workshops to bring people together to be able to present and to be able to convert, to close new business into your business so that you can ultimately reach even more people, make an even bigger impact, and create the lifestyle that you deserve. So it's no secret that this is a topic that we are very passionate about. Let's bring in Dr. Steve Tullius from Waitlist Workshops. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me. Looking forward to sharing today.
So we start every podcast off with the very same question. For you, it's going to be extremely important because I'm saying Dr. Steve Tullius. So obviously you're some kind of a doctor, but we're talking today about waitlist workshops. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How do you end up here as a waitlist workshop expert with this wide range of knowledge that we're about to dive into?
Yeah, so I'm a chiropractor by trade. I've been practiced 20 years, and this whole company, Waitlist Workshops, all came about because I had a need, right? The need that so many service professionals, entrepreneurs, coaches have out there, which is to bring in business, bring in new clients. And I had just come back from a year-long trip around the world. I had sold my first practice, was starting a brand new practice from scratch. And I was doing it on a shoestring budget because traveling around the world for a year without working is rather expensive. And I came back with not a lot of cash in my pocket, but I had a desire to serve and I had to put food on the table. So I started doing workshops. I loved puzzles growing up. Facebook marketing was just a puzzle for me. And I figured out how to do this, how to regularly attract 10, 15, 20, 25 people to my workshops. Colleagues saw what we were doing each month, and they asked if I would do it for them. And we started to test it in various markets around the country and showed that this concept and the systems we were using and the marketing strategies could work in any town, any city. And since then, we've helped over 300 service professionals around the country and actually internationally now, give over 5,000 workshops. I personally have given over 300. So we have more data on this than any other company out there. And we're definitely breaking the mold on this and systematizing it so that anyone could apply these same principles and strategies and get phenomenal results.
So let's dive into that. Let's just start sort of generally. A lot of people are going to lead with, but I don't like to speak. How do we overcome that? Or what do you say to those people that kind of are afraid of public speaking, which is part and parcel to giving workshops?
Yeah, obviously that's a top concern for a lot of people. It's one of the number one fears, out there in the world. So number one, I tell them that they're not alone, right? And that was a massive fear of mine. I mean, you've known me for years. You've heard me speak on lots of stages. And when I was first starting, I would tremble, I would shake, my voice would shake. So I know very deeply what it's like to be afraid of public speaking. So when I talk with service professionals who have the same fear, what I've recognized is that they got into being a service professional because they have a desire to serve and help people. And ultimately, if we can help them see that it's crucial and critical to use your voice to be able to help as many people as possible, come from a place of obligation, and have some very specific strategies on how to get over those fears. I've seen, and personally, doctors who are just petrified of public speaking become really, really great at it. So it's definitely a learnable skill. It has to do with someone first has the desire to serve and want to help more people.
Well, I think that it kind of, I understand it does not go without saying, but it kind of goes without saying that the people watching and listening, that that's kind of inherent inside of us, that we want to reach more people. Um, yes, it can be learned. I would agree with that. And you're not alone. Like there's a lot of people that don't, really relish the idea of getting up in front of a group and speaking. But give us some sort of tips or tricks, like convince us that this can be done. I mean, you did it, but here, this is the challenge, right? So, and I get it. This is what happens whenever we interview guests, because people are going to say, because you're not stammering, you're not trembling, your voice isn't trembling, and so they're going to be like, yeah, but that's a great story, Steve, but look, you're really good at it. And that's why, right? So maybe you just had to uncover that you were good at it. What do you say to the people that are truly like, this is not going to work for me? Like, is that we can recover from that? You can help them. What do you do to help those people to really get over that?
Yeah, so that's where some very specific strategies around understanding, what why they have the fear in the first place. The number one thing is recognizing that they're not alone. That this is, and that's very normal. It's not right or wrong to feel the feelings that they're feeling. Like, so just checking in first with like, hey, this is normal. It's not, because we tend to allow our limiting beliefs to get in the way, and we play these, we create these stories that we're the only ones with these limiting beliefs, right? And my experience has been that in working with people over the last 20 years, is that no matter what level of expertise someone is at, they could be the top musician in the world, the top athlete. Every single human has limiting beliefs, and there's typically there's a couple core limiting beliefs that are behind the fear of public speaking. Number one is a fear of not being good enough, a fear of not being smart enough, the fear of looking stupid. These are some of the most common fears that are stopping people from sharing. Also, imposter syndrome. These are some of the top fears. So what I help people do first is recognize that it's very normal and common. It's the human experience. So we all have this same thing, and to start to recognize it and kind of laugh at it, and look at how have those fears actually helped them up until this point. Like, what have they done? Why do we have fears in the first place? Fear is there to try to protect us. If there's a car coming at us, fear sets in, and we instantly jump out of the way. Well, that's part of our nervous system response. Well, we get these other fears that are not real, they're perceived, and so recognizing that the fear is actually not it's not a real fear, right? It's part of us that we've convinced ourselves that this thing is real. The next thing, and this is one of the key things that helped me. At first, I was just grinding through it. I just did it. And you can do it that way. You can get through it. You can, through just by sheer number of at bats. But I was still, even with all these at bats, I was still recognizing that anytime I was about to speak, even at like something as small as standing up at a BNI meeting, I felt these butterflies in my stomach. I felt this sensation. This is a neurological response now, and so I was working with this particular person, and she helped me understand what was going on. This totally transformed everything for me. So a lot of people are very sensitive to their environments, right? I'm sure most of you listening have been in a situation where you felt the hair on the back of your neck rise up, or you felt like someone was looking at you, and sure enough, you turn around and there's someone there right behind you, right? You didn't see them, but you felt them, and that's because our nervous systems are able to pick up information like that outside of our bodies. Like we have fields around us that we can sense these sort of things. And so when we stand up in front of a group of people, immediately there's all this attention on us, right? There's this energetic attention going directly at us. And for a lot of us, we learn to try to shut down the sensations and the feelings because it just feels different, or we've learned to feel it as uncomfortable. And but instead, if we can recognize, number one, that these people don't, and I take clients through this. I ask them, do you think these people at your workshops or that would come to these classes, do you think they're thinking like really bad things about you? Like, oh, this is a bad person. I hate this person. They're so stupid. Right? No, they're not thinking that. They're thinking, oh, wow, like they also have fears of public speaking. They're actually admiring you for standing up and speaking on a topic that's really important to them. So automatically, if we recognize that they're actually sending us positive types of vibes or neutral vibes at that, and instead of trying to block it, just take a deep breath into it and receive it instead of trying to block it. Because if we try to block anything like that and not just be a state of ease, we actually amplify the tension, and that's what creates the anxiety and the physiological response that causes us to feel the way we feel.
I love that. Super practical, super useful, but I don't know what to say. So now like, okay, so I have to overcome my fear of speaking, but I also have to figure out, what to say. And listen, I know from personal experience, a lot of times, we get somebody who's passionate about a thing and we get them up in front of people and we get them going. 3 hours later, they're still talking about the technical thing. We
Right.
got half the audience asleep and the other half left, 2 hours ago. What about content? What do you say about content? How do I figure out what content I would deliver so that I get my best bang for my buck? I overcome my fear, but then and I think that's part of the fear, right? I still don't know what to say. Um, Give us some guidance on how to properly structure one of these talks.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is let us show you. If you join our waitlist workshops free group on Facebook, we actually have a workshop template, we call it the workshop formula. So basically, you can just take content and plug it into a formula. Now here's the formula. Now I'll give you a quick rundown of it. Number one is the intro, right? You where you build rapport, you handle objections before they even come up. So you should know your target market's objections, and you build rapport, you build trust and credibility in the introduction. You build some more third party credibility by letting them know that the information you're about to share is not simply your opinion alone, but based upon either industry experts or it's from peer reviewed journal articles, depending upon what you're speaking on. Then we go into the problem, right? We got to increase the pain. So if you're a provider speaking on a particular topic or whatever, it could be a financial advisor. You talk about you want to talk about stats, scary stats that are going to increase the pain around the problem that they have, because we have to increase that level of anxiety and pain. Then we go into what's next, right? We let them know that, well, that's a lot of information. It's heavy information. Now we're going to talk about what's next. So now we're talking about a path forward, right? And then we talk about why they're having the problem, and then solutions. But all throughout that, now so far what we've talked about is building rapport, trust, and credibility, which are key for sales. But then now we have to also lay out logical certainty, like for what we're about to describe, that for our solution, there has to be logical certainty. And that's where most people go wrong, is that they simply provide logical certainty and too much of it. That's where the 3-hour presentation comes in. They try to lecture at people versus perform. A workshop is really a performance. And so they lecture at people. They provide too much logical certainty and not nearly enough emotional certainty. And that's where people buy. People buy around the emotional certainty, and that comes through testimonials. And that way the people know in the audience that people just like them had the same or similar problem, and they got a result when they did this thing, right? And then when you get to the end, after all of that, now you get to the close, and that's where most people really botch it up, because they're afraid to come off as a salesperson, even though it's their moral obligation to now convince or sell or give people an opportunity, right, to actually move forward with the solution that you have for them. So that's where major emotional certainty has to be built into the close. So that's a quick rundown of like the content. You just kind of plug in your content into that formula. Anyone can do this.
Now you said something kind of quickly, so I want to make sure that we reiterate this. You have a Facebook group that people can join where they can, for free, interact and learn how to structure these talks.
Yeah, it's wait list workshop, not weight loss. Wait list workshops, free group is the title of it. So you search for that, you'll find it on Facebook, and you can ask any question there. We have tons of trainings in there. We have we have the free templates, we have webinar trainings, we have lots of different trainings in that free group.
So I want to encourage everybody to jump on that waitlist workshops free group. Look for that on Facebook. Jump in there. As it says, it's free and you can gain access to the template. You can interact with other people that are on this journey to leverage these workshops to attract more people into their business. So the next challenge that we're going to have, so I overcome my fear. I go and I get the template and I start to structure my talk. But I got to get people to come to my talk. And so the only people that I really know that I could get to come to my talk are the people that are already my clients. But that doesn't serve me if I just get my clients to come to it, or maybe I get my clients and I ask them to bring a friend. But the problem is that my clients, when they bring a friend, they just bring like their spouse. How am I going to reach more people by doing these talks? How does that work? And what is the service that you provide that helps people to reach them?
Yeah, the number one way to reach new people for workshops is through advertising. So we specifically use Facebook and Instagram primarily. We and anyone can do this really. In fact, we have free trainings in our free group on how to do this. We've done lots of trainings on that. So anyone can do it. Now there's not it does take time to get really great at it. But the key is doing advertising. If you're not going to do advertising, then you have to do what you and I used to do. I don't know if you did it for sure, but I'm assuming you probably did if you did workshops before before Facebook and social media. We hit the streets. We hit the streets and put up flyers all around town. Starbucks, Jamba Juice, you name it, and you can and still should do that. There should still be some grassroots efforts, but that's the hard way. The easy way is through Facebook ads, sending people to a landing page. If you don't have a robust system, that is able to track everything like we have, then you can use Eventbrite. Eventbrite's free. You can certainly use Eventbrite. Send people to have paid traffic through Facebook and Instagram ads go into to that page, and get the people that way. The challenge is, and people will do this for a while. They'll try it, but then they end up stopping, because most of us as service professionals, entrepreneurs, being advertisers, that's not our specialty. So what we found, even when we teach people, they tend to come to us because they want it done for them.
This is interesting what I'm hearing you say. This waitlist workshop free group, it has everything in there that somebody needs in order to do these things. You obviously run a business. What gives there? Like, so I can just go to this free group and I can access everything that I need to put this together and start reaching more people and giving workshops.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did. I don't remember the date of it. I think it was the December webinar. We do monthly webinars, and I basically pulled the veil back and showed people on that webinar, exactly what to do. And you can go into that group and watch the recording. Look, I realized that number one, we can't serve all the people that need this. With the groups of some of the service professionals we work with. In fact, we have exclusivity, so we can't even work with all the different providers in that town. But the other thing is, some people are do-it-yourselfers. There's people who just will never work with us because they want to do it all themselves. I certainly don't have a problem sharing our tips, tools, strategies, and secrets, because the reality is that marketing is a constantly transforming and shifting target, right? And so I can't tell you how many times we have to change, update our Facebook ad strategies, right? And so even if people do, yes, they can watch it, they can get great they can get far with what we have for them. I also know that, like, I'm not afraid of competitors, right? This is something that comes up even with in my own team. Like, hey, why aren't we sharing this? Like, what if others see this, other marketers? I don't care. Like, we work to be the best, not to be afraid of what others might try to steal from us.
So if somebody that does look at this and they realize, look, I don't want to sit and watch all these videos. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. What does it look like then to work with you? You mentioned something about exclusivity. Like, kind of explain to me what kind of work you do with your clients.
Yeah, so right now, as because I'm a chiropractor, we have focused primarily on the chiropractic profession. We have a program that is truly turnkey, where the chiropractors get the workshops, they get trainings so they don't even have to create the content. We have all the content. We know the content that works. We know the ads that work. All they have to do is watch the trainings and know how to give the presentation, and just give us the time, date, and location, and we do the rest. So for chiropractors that want those specific type of patients, this system is truly turnkey for them. Now we are now piloting into other industries. We're going into and working already with solar. We're working with coaches. We're working with starting to work with dentists, and then also med spas and other similar verticals. And so for them, what we're doing is we're putting this system together. We're giving them basically a workshop marketing system in a box, where it could be do-it-yourself elements that are guided with all the training modules clearly outlined, and with opportunities to work with our team. So there's the do-it-yourself, or there's the done with you or done for you options. So it depends on, because a lot of different service professionals, businesses are at different stages of how they want to engage with us. So there's a done for you or done with you options. The best way to reach us is just to simply join that free group, and then reach out directly. Private message me on DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and just set up a call so we can see how we could work specifically with your industry.
Yeah, so if you're in any industry at all and you're like, "Hey, I wonder if doing workshops could benefit me." And listen, I got to tell you, a lot of times people are in an industry that you don't think would naturally work, but I know that you have been testing and seeing success in things such as even solar, which probably typically is more like door to door. Like, think about it, like, rather than me going out and hustling and knocking and going door to door, what if I could bring, 10, 15, 20 people to me, give a presentation and sign them up? I just get way more efficient. I could spend the time, rather than being out on the streets knocking on doors, I could spend the time, developing my ads, getting my community together, working on my talk, overcoming my fear of speaking, working on my close. Then I show up, I do my presentation, and I'm probably just as effective and efficient as somebody that's out there, knocking on, 50 doors a day. I don't have to do that because I don't want the door slammed in my face. I'd rather just get the people that were actually interested to come together and do this talk. So if you are interested in that, even as far fetched as you might think it seems, you should get in touch with Steve, and explore that. Partner with him and see if you guys could come up with a solution where you could drive traffic, deliver an amazing talk, close new clients for you, and maybe even be able to scale and expand your business beyond what you thought was possible. I know too. I know that you were mentioning before we jumped on onto the podcast that you're putting together a program coming up in the fall. We don't quite yet have the dates finalized. I was asking if you had finalized the dates, but for people that would be interested, tell us a little bit about the program. I'm sure we're going to have you back on before the program, but I want to get people interested in understanding kind of what's coming, so that they kind of know and they're on the lookout for the program you're putting together.
Yeah, so most likely it's going to be the last weekend of September in Austin, Texas, and we have a really unique event here. It's called Speak, Sell, Win, and it's going to be combining. 'Cause a lot of times we have public speaking workshops, events. We have marketing events. We have sales events, but we're going to combine all three. Right, so We're going to bring some of the best in areas of public speaking to help people become better public speakers. We're going to be going over marketing strategies to get people and butts in the seats. And then that's not enough alone. So we're going to have some of the best in the areas of sales and closing, so that people that come to this event are going to leave with tons of skills, everything they need to really be putting on workshops, closing more people, and at the end of the day, making more money and serving more people.
And let's remind everybody, other than the free group on Facebook, how do people get in touch with you? How can people engage with you more? How can people find out whether or not they would be a good fit to work with you?
Yeah, so direct message me on Facebook or Instagram, Steve Tullius. There aren't a lot of us in the world, so Tullius. I always tell people it's like Julius, but with a T. So find me on Instagram or Facebook and send me a direct message. I do respond. I and just like go back to the beginning. I love solving puzzles. So when people bring me a new service that we haven't explored yet, a new product, I love just because it's a puzzle for me. And you mentioned, like, there's a lot of people out there maybe like have thought like, well, maybe workshops, maybe workshops aren't for me. Well, most of the time when we explore it enough, if you have a service based product, and you're either local or national and international. In fact, I love the national and the international options, because there's so much we can do with advertising there. I love these puzzles. Bring them to me and let's see what we can create.
And let's not forget, if you're a chiropractor, the puzzle's already been solved. Like if you're a chiropractor, you need to be reaching out and plugging in with Steve, because that's not a puzzle. That's a solution, a pre-existing solution. But I got to tell you, I'm very impressed watching Steve solve the puzzle in all of these other industries. And what's really cool, when you reach out, it might not be a puzzle, it might be a solution as well. I've watched him break into other industries and solve this for tons of different people and tons of different industries, and also important in tons of different geographies. A lot of times people think like, well, where I live, people aren't going to want to come to a workshop. Listen, when people have problems and they're looking for a solution, one thing is like Googling and looking for it and reading about it online. Another thing is sitting in a room with somebody, hearing them present their expertise and their solution. And when it's done expertly, but also when it's done from a place of integrity, when people can, understand that you are a genuine person and you're there to help them, it's quite easy. It becomes easy for you to be able to close that business and bring them into your world. You should reach out to Steve Tullius, find out whether or not doing workshops, especially post pandemic too, right? See, people are beginning to want to come together after the pandemic, and they're more receptive to being in a room and learning about something than they were, say, a year or so ago.
Yeah, we're seeing right now the lowest cost per lead that we've seen in years, right? So people are definitely wanting to get out. Competition is down on ads in general, and workshops are killing it for our clients. We're seeing registration numbers that were far greater than what we were seeing, a year ago, 2 years ago. And yeah, as you mentioned, it's a no-brainer for chiropractors. We have the solution. If you want to see the types of patients that we bring to people, then this is the thing to do. And regarding the geography, that's another piece. Like, we know where this works. Like, we could simply plug in a zip code and say, based upon the number of people in our audiences, if this is going to work or not in terms of bringing high quality leads. Now, a lot of times people, we may not have a data on a certain area, but I got to tell you, like, it's the potential upside to this is so huge, versus the downside, right? We're not talking about a whole lot of money to find out if this could work really, really well. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen individuals pass on an opportunity that had very little downside and massive upside, and then someone else decided to do that and in their area, and sure enough, it was a massive boom to their business, and they got the opportunity because the other person just didn't want to take the small risk associated with trying it and finding out.
Yeah, there's very little downside. I mean, you just got to get over yourself. And I mean that kindly and with compassion. But you've got to overcome this fear of public speaking. Decide that you are actually committed. Like Steve said earlier, you have a moral obligation to share your passion and your service with your community. And Steve can hold your hand literally every step of the way to help you to put together these workshops, fill the workshops, teach you how to deliver the workshops so that you can convert, boom, reaching more people. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today on the None of Your Business podcast.
Hey, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see you at the sales workshop.
That's right. You can see Steve Tullius and Waitlist Workshops at the upcoming Black Diamond Club Sales Matters Workshop in Austin. Great opportunity. If you're not yet registered, jump on that. Come out, meet Steve in person. He'll even take you country dancing. I hear he's he's closing in on a champion. He's starting to place in these categories. So watch out for Steve Tullius. But you can dance with him. You can dance with him at Sales Matters, but you can also dance with him in Waitlist Workshops as he helps you to develop your business. Don't miss out. That wraps up this edition of the None of Your Business podcast. I don't know how we possibly top this. I mean, we're going to have to get, James, you're going to have to find somebody who's a better dancer than Steve for next week. We're going to try. No promises.
Impossible.
That's impossible. We'll be back again next week with a brand new edition of the None of Your Business podcast.